Well, hello everybody and welcome to Vinyl Treasures. I'm your host, Johnny G. John Galindo, coming to you live each and every Saturday, only here on Top Shelf Oldies. Want to welcome you to the July 29, 2017 Vinyl Treasure Show. It's my all 1960s a show we do it the last Saturday of every month. So welcome. I got some cool tunes for tonight here, and we had a nice, guess, kind of cool day today. It wasn't really that bad, overcast in the morning, but gonna have a great week next week. I will not be here next Saturday. Burton will be filling in for me. He'll be doing an extended show, so stick around for that. But got some cool tunes before I go on vacation, and we opened up with a group called the Pygmies. It was from September 1963, a song called Don't Monkey with Tarzan. Now, the Pygmies were really Bob Feldman, Jerry Goldstein, and Richard Goddard, and also add in Snuff Garrett there, along with Marty Coopersmith, who was a member of Jay and the Americans. They all had nothing to do one rainy day and decided to make a record, mainly instrumental there, but a song about Tarzan. Now, that Tarzan voice that you hear in the background was Marty Coopersmith. They said he was dressed in a leopard skin bikini underwear and ran through the studio shouting that Tarzan scream. Anyway, the song charted number 36 on WDAK in Columbus, Ohio. Those are the Pygmies on Liberty with Don't Monkey with Tarzan. Well, don't monkey with Johnny G. Let's open up the vocal portion here with this singer from Grand Rapids, Michigan. You all know who he is. He was born Charles Westover, had 25 songs to hit the Billboard Hot 100, and of course he had more, but 4 of them went to top 10, biggest being Runaway, a big #1 hit for him on Big Top Records. But he had other releases on Burley, Amy, and then he signed with Liberty Records. Here's his third of 10 for Liberty, produced by Snuff Garrett and Leon Russell. This one charted number 28 on KGHO in Hoquiam, Washington. A song that he wrote. It's, of course, Mr. Del Shannon. This one from June 66 on Liberty. His tune called Show Me. June 66, they're on the Liberty record banner there. Del Shannon. Del Shannon's third of 10 releases for Liberty. Show Me is the name of the tune. And unfortunately, Del committed suicide February 8th, 1990. Self-inflicted gunshot when he was only 55 years old. Left us with some great music. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening showing you all these cool 45s. Those of you on the Ustream broadcaster. Let's stay in 1966. We head to Philadelphia, PA for this next group. It's on Fran Williams' Mr. Genius label. Both sides of this 45 are pretty good, but I don't know anything about this group, but let's give it a spin. This is the intended A-side from 1966 Mr. Genius Records. They are called The Avengers. The tune is called Crying All Alone. Yes, Danny, I have to agree with you. That's probably a record that Del Shannon definitely could have a song Del Shannon could have recorded there. But those are the Avengers, 1966, out of Philadelphia on the Mr. Genius label. Crying All Alone is the name of the tune. The flip side is like kind of a Northern Soul type thing. If you go to the Manship, his site, he sells this record. The flip side, though, he's pushing for the Northern Soul collectors. John G here for a Saturday evening, spinning 1960s 45s out of my collection. Up next, 45 on Bob Keane's Mustang record label. Now, Bob Keane discovered Richie Valens. He was also the owner of the Delphi and Donna labels. And this group had this one release on the Mustang label. They're from Southern California. Now, the founder and lead singer for the group, his name is Paul Marshall, and along with his two friends, formed while they were in high school this group called the Bochemans. So let's go back to January 1966, again from 1966, the Bochemans on Mustang with their tune called My Lovin' Baby.
All the people who decide
Well, the Top Shelf Oldies fans in the chat room really love that tune there from January 1966. The Bochemans, the name of the group on the Mustang record label. My Lovin' Baby is the name of the tune. Now, in 1969, Paul Marshall, the lead singer of that group, would join an already established Strawberry Alarm Clock, touring with the group, recording, and actually he was featured in an appearance in that cult movie classic called Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. I think the Strawberry Alarm Clock did a cameo appearance there, and he is in the group when they put that film out. Anyway, you can check it out. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue. Next, a female R&B trio from Harlem, New York, consisted of Frances Gearing, Betty Stokes, and Mildred Vaney. Collectively, they were known as the Glories. They had 8 overall releases on the Date record label. This is their first, and I guess we can consider this their biggest hit, even though it only made it up to 95 on Cashbox, number 74 on Billboard, but a big number 6 on WHYN in Springfield, Massachusetts. It features Frances Gearing on lead. Let's go back to April 1967 for the Glories on Date and their tune called I Stand Accused.
I need you so, you got a hold on me, and when I'm in your arms, my heart's in ecstasy. Ooh, your tender touch gives me a crazy thrill. I want your lips on mine, and babe, I always will. Oh, I stand accused of loving you, babe, of wanting you, babe, of needing you, babe. I walked the room until I saw your face, and then I knew at last I'd found my hiding place. Ooh, it's a sin to be a private toy. Then I'm a sinner, babe. You are my pride and joy. Oh, I stand accused of loving you, babe, of wanting you, babe, of needing you, babe. Oh, you brought the sun, kissed away the rain. Oh, I give my life just to spare you pain. How could I go on if I found you gone? Oh, I stand accused. I stand accused of loving you, babe, of wanting you, babe, of needing you, babe. No, I stand accused of loving you, babe, of wanting you, babe, of needing you, babe. I need you so, need you so. Hold on me, hold on me. I'm in your arms, in ecstasy, tender touch, your crazy thrill, crazy thrill. I want your lips on mine, lips on mine. I always will, always will. I need you so, need you so. Hold on me, hold on me. I'm in your arms, ecstasy, tender touch.
That's a debut 45 for the Glories, the first of 8 on the Date label. April 1967, the Glories with a full title is I Stand Accused, parentheses, of Loving You. That's a cool tune from April 1967. Let's continue here. Let's stay with the girl sounds. Here is this gal. She's from Mount Airy, North Carolina. Her first release was back in 1964 on the Faber label. Then she had another on the Aura label as Vonnie Val. But with this 45, which is on the Dot record banner, she changed it to her real name. Her real name is Yvonne Vaughn. This one from June of 1965, Yvonne Vaughn on Dot with her tune called When You Gonna Tell Her About Me.
just doesn't thrill you no more. You wanted new love, I brought you true love, and I'll stand by you. But when you're gonna tell her about me, baby? When you're gonna tell her about me, baby? Now you're wishing and hoping, I want our love to come out in the open. Oh, when you're gonna tell her? When you're gonna tell her? When you're gonna tell her?
June 65, released there on the Dot record banner. Yvonne Vaughn's her name. When You Gonna Tell Her About Me is the name of the tune. Now, in the early 1970s, she would find success. She would find success with songs, I'm sure you may know, songs like The Happiest Girl in the USA and Funny Face. Came out on the Mega record label in, 1972 or so, of course. She recorded as Donna Fargo then, but her real name is Yvonne Vaughn. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening, spinning 1960s 45s. That's the last Saturday of the month. Up next, though, a B-side of a big hit from 1969 by this Jamaican group. The hit side, I'm sure you all know, was a big number 9 on Billboard, number 8 on Cashbox, a song called Israelites. 45 that my aunt purchased, but not for the hit side. She purchased it for the B side. It's the first of 2 on the Uni record label for Desmond Decker and the Aces. And we go back to March of 69. This is a B side on Uni. Desmond Decker and the Aces, the flip side of Israelites, a song called My Precious World. March 1969 there, Desmond Decker and the Aces. The flip side of Israelites, that tune called My Precious World, parentheses, The Man. That is the full title. It's on the Uni record label, 45, that my aunt purchased back in 1969. Now, Desmond's real name was Desmond Dace. It's unfortunate that we lost him May 25th, 2006. He was 64. He died of a heart attack. All these singers gone, but their music will live on. Johnny G, at least here on the Vinyl Treasure Show and Top Shelf Oldies. Let's continue here. I played the B-side of this 45 a few months ago on the Musicor label, an earlier 60s show by this singer-actress Eartha Kitt. She had a couple of Northern Soul 45s. Now, the side I played was called There Comes a Time, but this is the intended A-side. It's produced by Luther Dixon, the second of two she recorded on the Musicor record label, November 1966. Miss Eartha Kitt on Musicor with, this is the A-side. It's called Any Way You Want It, Baby.
I don't wanna keep you, baby, if you don't wanna be kept. I don't wanna make you take the things you can't accept. I won't force my love upon you just to satisfy myself. All you gotta do is let me know. Should I stay or should I go? Any way you want it, baby. So baby, that's it, baby. Any way you want it, baby. So baby, that's it, baby. What you gonna do? It's not that I'm confident that I can stand alone, or that I don't need you. I'm no island, I'm not stone. I'm just the same as any girl is, raised on love and foolish pride. But if you're gonna love me, you gotta say it. Tell me if you don't, I can take it. Any way you want it, baby. So baby, that's it, baby. Any way you want it, baby. So baby, that's it, baby. What you gonna do? I'm just the same as any girl is, raised on love and foolish pride. But if you're gonna love me, you gotta say it. Tell me if you don't, I can take it. Any way you want it, baby. So baby, that's it, baby. Any way you want it, baby. So baby, that's it, baby. Baby, baby, that's it, baby. You want it square or round? I don't care. Do you want it here or there? It doesn't matter to me anywhere. Oh, baby, 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 oh, baby.
That has like a Motown sound to it, but that's the second of two on the Musicor record label for Miss Eartha Kitt, November 1966. Any Way You Want It, Baby is the name of the tune. Now, I remember watching her on the Batman TV show. She was I don't know if she was the first Catwoman. Was she the first Catwoman on Batman? I'm not sure, but she also recorded, of course, that Christmas classic, that 1950s Christmas classic on RCA, Santa Baby. But she's got two Northern Soul 45s that are kind of in demand tunes. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Let's continue here. We go to St. Louis, Missouri for this next group. Came out on Mel Friedman's Music Land USA label, which did not have many releases or many hits. Really, the biggest hit for a Music Land USA was the Bob Cuban and the Inmen, The Cheater in 1966. Actually, 5 of their releases did get regional play. Bob Cuban and the Inmen. I think Gail McCormick and the Classmen, she had a record that was being played regionally. And the Guys, Guise, if I pronounce it right, they also had a record that was played regionally. But I nor Charlene could find any info on this 45 by this group called The Profiles. It appears that this 45 came out twice on the Musicland label. In 1966, for you collectors out there, came out as 20004, and then again, it was the last release on the label for some reason, a different numbering sequence, 121 on one side, 122 on the flip, and some weird numbering system. As my manager at Sony told me when I worked at Sony Music, he said their record companies had no rhyme or reason on their numbering of their releases. They either followed consecutive numbers or they messed them up. Just look at the JNS record label. There is no rhyme or reason to their numbering system. But anyway, let's give a listen to this record. I'm playing the later release of the 45, which came out in 1968. Now, it's a cover song originally recorded by Dee Clark in 1961. Let's give it a spin. The Profiles. This is the 68 release on Musicland USA, their rendition of the tune Raindrops.
Since my baby has left me, I'm so all alone. I will bring her back to me. I don't know where she's gone. I don't know where she's gone. There must be a cloud above my head, rain keep falling from the sky. Oh no, it can't be too dry, because a man is supposed to cry. Then it must be raindrops, so many raindrops, feel like raindrops falling from the sky, falling from the sky. There must be a cloud above my head, rain keep falling from the sky. Oh no, it can't be too dry, because a man ain't supposed to cry. Then it must be raindrops, so many raindrops, feel like raindrops falling from the sky, falling from the sky. They keep on falling, falling from the sky, falling from the sky, falling from the sky. Keep on falling, falling from the sky, falling from the sky.
I haven't played that one on the Sirius Shag station, not yet though. The Profiles there, 1968 with a cover tune, Raindrops, the Dee Clark record there on the Musicland USA record. Now, this is the intended B-side, which is odd because on this one, the later release, I think, they are not... I think this is a later release, they do not give writer credits, but on the earlier release from 66, they do for some reason. So weird. Record companies are weirdos, that is for sure. Hopefully Johnny G not a weirdo for a Saturday evening. Let's continue here. Let's go back to the girl group sounds for this group called The Babies with this 45 on the Dunhill label. I'm playing the intended B-side, which bubbled under, by the way, at number 122 for 1 week. It features Rita Jean Bodine on lead. This one arranged by Gene Page, produced by Steve Barry and Lee Young. We go back to April 1967 for this group called The Babies on Dunhill, and their tune called You Make Me Feel Like Someone.
I'm famous for. I've won nothing someone hasn't won before. There's nothing much for me to be proud of. There is no prize that I can claim except your love and baby. You make me feel like someone. Yes, I'm someone special to you. You're not just a guy who will just live and die, 'cause you're giving me something to do. Loving you, yeah. You make me feel like someone. And maybe there is no one who can take that away from me. I've been lonely in a world of loneliness, searching only for a little happiness. Suddenly, my life is worth living when I reached out and you were there to take my hand and baby, you make me feel like someone. Yes, I'm someone special to you. You're not just a guy who will just live and die, 'cause you're giving me something to do. Loving you, yeah. You make me feel like someone. And maybe there is no one who can take that away from me. Yeah. You make me feel like someone. And maybe there is no one. You make me
April 67 there for a girl group called The Babies. The Babies on Dunhill Records. You make me feel like someone. Yes, you do. Every Saturday night, Johnny G's feels like a disc jockey because I'm spinning original vinyl 45s. Let's continue here. Up next, a female singer. She had just 4 releases, all on different labels beginning back in 1965. She was known as Little Brenda Duff on the Downbeat label. Then in 67, a release on the Casino label, and later in 1971 on Volume, and the one that I'm featuring is on the Blue Rock label. We go back to July 1969 for Brenda Duff on Blue Rock. Her song's called Love Ain't Never Hurt Nobody.
Boy, your friends say, what do you see in her? You got a future, boy, but it ain't with her. She ain't nothing now, and she won't be nothing then. Without me, baby, how can you win? Oh, yeah, love ain't never hurt nobody. I know love ain't never hurt no one. Love ain't
Johnny G forgets to turn the mic on. July 1969, Brenda Duff there on the Blue Rock record label. Cool tune there, Warren. You like that tune? We'll send it out to you. Love Ain't Never Hurt Nobody is the name of that one. Johnny G, hopefully not hurting you with these cool 45s, at least price-wise, for you collectors out there. Let's continue here for this next singer. Was discovered by New York writer-producer Tom DeChellis. Discovered this artist, recorded sessions with him at the New York City JG Studios. Now, Tom leased his tracks out to Juggy Murray, and the result were 2 releases on the Sue label. Here is the A-side of his second release. His name is Bobby Lee. Bobby Lee, we go back to August of '66 on Sue. Bobby Lee with I Missed It by That Much.
I woke up late this morning, yes I did. I got right up and jumped out of bed, yeah. I heard all around the house trying not to make a fuss, dressing while I'm running out, didn't want to miss the bus. And would you believe what I said? Oh yeah, I missed it by that much. Oh yeah. I asked my boss to give me a raise, please. I couldn't pin him down right away. No, I waited for another day, praying I would get ahead, wondering what the man would say, hoping I would get the bread. And would you believe what I say? Oh yeah, I missed it by that much. Oh yeah. I always miss the boat, no matter what I do. All from a fool and I'm out of luck. When I get a chance and always end up, I missed it by that much. Yeah, I missed it by that much. Yeah, I missed it by that much. I was at a party. Yes, it was. I checked this groovy chick. She was tough, yeah. And while I walked around the room thinking I was being cool, every guy was looking to getting set to make a move. And would you believe what I say? Oh yeah, I missed it by that much. Oh yeah, I missed it by that much. Yeah, I missed it by that much. Yeah, missed it by that much. Yeah, would you believe? Yeah.
That's the second of 2 from Mr. Bobby Lee on the Sue label, August 1966. A song called I Missed It By That Much. Imagine that field goal just missed it by that much. Almost football time. Getting very excited for my Cincinnati Bengals. We'll see how well they do. Got a bunch of Steeler fans at work, always fighting back and forth with those Steeler fans. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue. We make our first trip over to the UK for this male duo named Rick and Sandy. They were really Richard Tykett and Alexander Roberton. And it appears to be their only release. This song written by Jonathan King. I'm sure you know who he is. In 1965 on the Parrot label. Had a pretty big hit with Everyone's Gone to the Moon. But he wrote this song for them. January 66. Give a listen to Rick and Sandy on the Press label. A song called Creation.
Sow the seeds, to grow the grass, to give life to the field. Man created machines. Why did he create them? To cut the grass, to feed the cows, to give life to himself. grow the grass, to give life to the field. Man created machines. Why did he create them? To cut the grass, to feed the cows, to give life to himself. In this way, nature was always used by a wise man. But what he didn't know was that he followed nature's plan. Nature created a man. Why did she create him? To live his life, to love his wife, to give birth to his child. Man created a child. Why did he create it? To grow into a living weapon, to destroy the plan that nature had created.
A UK trio, Rick and Sandy, January 1966, on the Press label. Actually, for you collectors out there, you got to be with the Press label. They use their own numbers, and they also use the London numbers. This uses a London number. I think it's 9739 or something. So if you were filing that record by label, you would have to put that in with London Records. Anyway, Rick and Sandy with their tune called Creation. Johnny G here creating original vinyl 45s for a Saturday evening, my all 60s show. Let's go to Canada next for this next singer. Alex liked that record. Alex, do you know this next singer? And he came on the scene in 1964 when he was 15 years old. His first 45 on the Tolly label. It was called Unless You Care. And this is the follow-up to that tune, produced by P.F. Sloan and Steve Barry. We go back to January 1965 for Mr. Terry Black. Terry Black on Tolly and his tune called Everyone Can Tell.
Everyone can tell, you really caught my eye. And everyone can tell, you got me hypnotized. Yeah, anyone can see by the crazy things I do.
Everyone can tell.
Everyone but you.
Everyone can tell.
Everyone but you. And if I heard you say it's really me you love, I'd be flying higher than all the birds above. Anyone in their right mind could see what I'm going through.
Everyone can tell.
Everyone but you.
Everyone can tell.
Everyone but you. I've got to make you understand, 'cause I need you so. Or maybe on the other hand, perhaps you don't want to know, but everyone can tell. You really got me going, and everyone can tell. I know that it's showing. I just can't hide by the way I feel inside.
Everyone can tell.
Everyone but you.
Everyone can tell.
Everyone but you. Everyone but you.
January 1965 release there on the Tolly label, a subsidiary of VJ Records, by the way. Terry Black's his name. Everyone Can Tell. Yes, everyone can tell John G playing original vinyl 45s. Now, he would have two more releases on, I think, Dunhill Records, another two on the Kama Sutra label. Unfortunately, he passed away June 28th, 2009. He was only 60 years old, died from multiple sclerosis. But again, listening to these cool sounds from the 1960s, let's continue here. We have a duo from New York City. They are Harry Glossassi, who is the male half of this duo. And in the late 1950s, he was half of a brother and sister duet. If you're familiar with a duet by Gino and Gina, had a top 20 hit with a tune called Pretty Baby. He also discovered the Impalas and co-wrote their big hit, Sorry I Ran All the Way Home. Now, his singing partner, his name is Donnie Marchand, and he had some early doo-wop releases. I'm sure, Warren, you may know his releases on Mohawk and Kraft. I featured a fast song he does called Round in Circles on my 50s show. But they were called the James Boys, and this is the second of two they recorded on the Columbia label. Let's go back to June of '66 for the James Boys on Columbia, and their tune called Keep the Fire Burning.
Keep the fire burning bright. Burning bright, burning bright.
Is there a spark of love left in your heart? A little glimmer of hope that we won't part.
Baby, don't you think it's worth a try? Tell me why you love that. Shouldn't I? Shouldn't I? Shouldn't I? Keep it burning for me. Keep it burning for me. Keep it burning for me. Baby, don't you think it's worth a try? Tell me why you love that. Shouldn't I? Shouldn't I? Shouldn't I?
If I was in your place, it's just what I do. I'd give it a little more thought before I say I'm through.
Baby, don't you think it's worth a try? Tell me why you love that. Shouldn't I? Shouldn't I? Shouldn't I? Keep it burning for me. Keep it burning for me. Keep it burning for me. Keep it burning for me.
Those are the James Boys on the Columbia record label. Their second release on Columbia. Both their records are pretty good. June 1966, Keep the Fire Burning. Now, that's not the same James Boys recorded for the Fillet of Soul label. They were a soulful, I think they became MFSB, I think, the other James Boys. But that's a cool tune. John G here for a Saturday evening. Let's continue. Let's go back to the Tolly label. Earlier, actually a couple records ago, we just heard from Terry Black on Tolly. How about this bass player and singer from Philadelphia, PA, played bass with Dickie Doo and the Don'ts. Then he went solo in 1963 with his debut release on the Warner Brothers label in 1964. Then he signed with the VJ subsidiary Tolly Records. Records had 3 releases on Tolly, actually on the VJ family of labels, 2 on Tolly, 1 on VJ. Here is the B-side to his second release on Tolly, written and produced by Sonny Bono. Let's go back to March of 1965 for Joey Page. Joey Page on Tolly with a Sonny Bono tune called Yeah, Yeah, Yeah. John G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on all these cool tunes. That one there on the Tolly record label from Mr. Joey Page, March 1965. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the B-side to his second release on Tolly, tune written by Sonny Bono. Now, check him out on YouTube. There are clips of him lip-syncing to various appearances he did on a lot of the West Coast shows. There are a few clips. I saw them today. It was pretty interesting to see him singing to some of these songs. Now, he would later have releases on the Mira and the Phillips label. He now lives in Valencia, California. He works as a real estate agent, and he's in the process of writing a book about his experience in the music business during the 1960s. Cool tunes here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. Got a flip side from the last 60s show. I played the A-side by this girl group called Shona and the Party Lights. The A-side was called Nice Guy. Let's flip it over, give a listen to the B-side. This one also arranged by Charlie Colello. It's on Frank Slay's Chicory label. We go back to November of '63. They're called Shona and the Party Lights on Chicory. The song is Miracle Maker.
Play a little game of love.
Warren, you better hurry up and look for that 45 because Dave the Rave is looking for that 45 also. Shauna and the Party Lights, the name of the group, November 1963. We dip into 1963 sometimes. On the Chicory label, that's the B-side of Nice Guy, a song called Miracle Maker. Both sides, cool tune, cool up-tempo sides, both of them. Johnny G here spinning 1960s, pulled out lots of 45s on the Liberty banner tonight, and here's one by a group from San Diego, California. Their first single came out on the Commerce label in 1964. Then they had releases on Liberty, and this one written by Gabe Lapano, who is co-leading on this song with a female member of the group. Her name is Sandra Rouse. This one produced by Andy DiMartino. He was the manager for the Cascades. We go back to July of 1965 on the Liberty banner for the Accents and their tune called I Really Love You. July 1965. They're called The Accents. The Accents on the Liberty record label. I Really Love You is the name of the tune. A duet there. Duet with Gabe Lapano and Sandra Rouse, The Accents there. Now, their last record came out on the Karate label. Have that 45. Haven't played it here on the 60s show yet, 1966. Now, Gabe Lapano would join the Cascades when John Gummo left the group in 1967, and he then became the new lead. John G here for a Saturday evening spinning 1960s 45s. This next female singer from Philadelphia, PA, was born Dionne LaRue. She had 13 releases on the Cameo record label between 1962 and 1966. You all know her signature song was her first release called Mashed Potato Time. Now here is her 12th release, a song written by Barrett Strong. Now it's the B-side to a song called I Really Love You. We just heard one by the Accents, but this gal also recorded a song called I Really Love You. We're going to flip it over though, give a listen to the B-side from September 65, Miss Dee Dee Sharp on Cameo, and her tune called Standing in the Need of Love.
Standing in the need of love, yes I am.
An empty house
That's Miss Dee Dee Sharp, September 1965. That's the B-side, Standing in the Need of Love. That one there on the Cameo record label. Her 12th of 13 releases on the Cameo label. John G here spinning 1960s as we continue. Got a singer from the state of Texas. His real name is William D. Folsing, and under his alias we know him as Dean Scott. Now, his debut 45 came out on the Dante label in 1962, but others followed on labels like Pacemaker and Jamie. And here is one on the Scepter label that was written by Dale Ward. Let's go to July of 1966 for Dean Scott. Dean Scott on Scepter with a song called Gotta Have Losers Too.
My baby to jail, a new boy stole love away. I won't cry no more, and I know my pain will leave me by and by, 'cause everybody can be up with love, everybody can be up with love, everybody can be up with love, baby. Gotta have losers too. In my heart, with a break I know, I won't let it show. I know that it's all in the game. No matter how I try, it'll turn out the same. Everybody can be up with love, nobody can be up with love, nobody can be up with love, baby. Gotta have losers too. I'll always be thankful for the love that we shared. I'm gonna try hard to hold back the tears till my heart no longer cares. Lord of the blood, I beg you, because I know what's his to give is his to take. Gotta be losers too.
I got to send that 45 out to my administrative assistant, Charlene Whiteside of Huntsville, Texas. She owns that 45 on the Scepter label, July 1966. Dean Scott and his tune called Gotta Have Losers Too. Now, Dean is now retired. He resides in Kingsland, Texas. And Charlene, very instrumental, helping Johnny G every Saturday get the show together. I couldn't really do it without Charlene's help. Thank you, Charlene. As we move on here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, we go back to the UK for this singer that became a British teen idol. He was born Terence Nelhams, began recording in the late 1950s, but it wasn't until 1960 that his 45s were released here in the U.S., or his songs were released here in the U.S. First on the MGM subsidiary Cub label. Then he had 5 on the Amy label. His biggest hit on Amy was a song called It's All Right, but here is his first release on the Amy label. We go back to December of 1963 for Mr. Adam Faith. Adam Faith on Amy, and his tune is called The First Time.
Every time that we meet, she looks my way. Then she's up down the street, but I want her to stay. Is it love? I don't know. That you feel? I don't know. Is it love? I don't know. Is it real? I don't know. Cause it's the first time I felt this way. Her eyes are so blue, and oh how they shine. What can I do to make this girl mine? Is it love? I don't know. That you feel? I don't know. Is it love? I don't know. Is it real? I don't know. Cause it's the first time I felt this way. In all my dreams, this girl appears and says sweet words to me. If dreams come true like some folks do, then what will the answer be? But when will I know? How long must I wait? When will it show? What is my fate? It's the first time I felt this way. Cause it's the first time I felt this way.
That's the first of 5 for Adam Faith on the Amy record banner, December 1963. The First Time is the name of that tune. Unfortunate that we lost Adam Faith on March 8th, 2003 at the age of 62. He died from a heart attack. Again, cool music here. They left us that we hear on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Let's continue here with more 1960s. This artist is from Port Angeles, Washington, recorded for Morris Levy's Roulette record label, but as what did I say? This is his 4th and final release on the Roulette label, and it's a B-side. It's arranged and conducted by Trade Martin. We go back to September of 1966. I'm talking about Chance Eden. Chance Eden on Roulette, and his song is called Barefoot Through the Grass.
And then you tell me you love me truly. And then you tell me I'm the one. Then we run barefoot through the grass. Oh, you run just fast enough so I can catch you. And I do. And then you kiss me. Oh, how you kiss me. And then you hold me, oh, so very tight. Then we run barefoot through the grass. Oh, you run just fast enough so I can catch you. And I do. And then you reach out, and then you touch my
That's the fourth and final release for Chance Eden from September 1966. Morris Levy's Roulette record label, Barefoot in the Grass. I know another song. Was it who did Barefoot in the Park? It was on the Uni label. Was that Strawberry Alarm Clock that did that? It should do a special on barefoot songs. We can do Barefootin', okay, by, what's his name, Parker. Forget his name. John G going wild here for a Saturday evening. Let's continue here. Got a singer-actor from Honolulu, Hawaii. Now, in between his singing career, he was acting on a few TV shows. I think was he a regular on Hawaii Five-0? I also think he had some parts on Magnum PI, but he had two releases. I mean, he was a singer. I think he was a jazz singer, they said, but no. But he maybe I think they call him the Hawaiian Frank Sinatra, I think I saw it today. But anyway, he had two releases on the Dymo label, DYMO, a label out of Hollywood, California. This is his second, and it's actually a cover song. Was originally recorded by Eileen Barton in '63 on the 20th Century Fox label. But his name is Jimmy Borges, Borges. This one's from '64. Jimmy Borges on Dymo, a song called The Earth Stood Still. That would probably be a good theme song for that sci-fi movie, The Earth Stood Still. I think if they do a remake, that'd be a good tune there. Jimmy Borges' name, 1964, the second of two on the Dymo label. The Earth Stood Still is the name of the tune. Unfortunately, he passed away May 30th, 2016. He was 80 years old. He died from lung cancer, liver and lung cancer. Jai G here's remembering all these past singers, unfortunately, left us with some great tunes here. Let's go back to England for this next singer. His real name is Michael Bourne, but he had several hits in the UK, and here is a release he had in the US. Had three on the Coral label here in the US, but this is his third, a tune written by Neil Diamond, but Neil never sang this song. Now, it was first released, actually first recorded by a gal by the name of Sedina. and that her name really Priscilla Mitchell. October 65, she recorded it on the Smash label. So let's hear this cover by Mike Berry. Mike Berry doing this Neil Diamond tune from April 1966 on the Coral label, a song called It Comes and Goes.
And goes the feeling I've been feeling. When she comes, it grows. I know it's just a feeling, but when she's around, I get the feeling that her mind's in some other world, like some other girl. And when she calls my name, I don't know what it is, but it's just not the same. I don't know what's been missing, but I know it's gone. I feel it from my head way down into my toes. It comes and goes, oh maybe she still really cares, and I'm not being smart. I might have been imagining all the time. Who's to say the feeling I feel in my heart won't turn out to be all in my mind? It hurts me. Being smart, I might have been imagining all the time. Who's to say the feeling I feel in my heart won't turn out to be all in my mind? And yet when we're alone, she makes me feel like some old toy that's been outgrown, as though I were just some old boy she's hardly known. I can't help feeling while the feeling comes and goes. She comes and goes with someone new.
Out of the UK, that's Mike Berry's version of It Comes and Goes on the Coral record banner. That is his third and final release on Coral, April 1966. We continue here. Let's go back to Liberty Records for this next singer by the name of Mike Harris. Started recording back in 1960 on the Zuma label. Not only sang but also wrote tunes. He has 6 overall releases between 1960 and 1966. I featured his second one from 1963 on my 50s and early 60s show on the Crimmy label. It was kind of a novelty cool tune called I'm a Grimmy Baby. I think I made a comment, what the hell is that? But anyway, here's his fourth, which came out on the Liberty label. It's a song he wrote, kind of a cool rockabilly sound here, from September 64. Give a listen to Mike Harris on Liberty with a song called Come Along With Me.
If you only come along with me.
Well, Danny, I was trying to place this record, and coming to think of it, who's the guy on Brent Records? Does some rockabilly stuff. Oh, I just had his name in my mind. I know one side is Vivian, like a doo-wop, and the other side's like kind of a rockabilly side. It sounds like him as I lose my mind. Anyway, that's Mike Harris, September 1964, on the Liberty record. Come Along With Me is the name of the tune. Now, he was a close friend and associate to guitarist and small studio owner Bob Summers, so possibly he was playing guitar. Bob Summers playing guitar on that 45. John G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on all these cool 60s 45s. They were down in the no humidity basement. I was going through boxes and boxes. I have about 17 boxes of records. I've been going through kind of like weeding out all the country western stuff and the 70s, late 70s and 80s and early 90s stuff, and I have boxes. I just come up here and I just play them. Does this sound good? Does that sound good? I'm putting them in boxes. I think Charlene tuned in a couple nights. I went on the Ustream broadcaster to do it, so I pulled out some cool tunes here. But I got another flip side from the last 60s show, though. I played the second of 7 on the Checker label by this Washington, D.C. duo known as the Knight Brothers. They were Richard Dunbar and James Diggs. I played the B-side of their second release called Second Hand Lover, but this was the A-side written by James Diggs. It's from December of 63. We'll give it a whirl. Knight Brothers on Checker with I Really Love You.
For a new love, you even told me, girl, it was your true love. Hurt my pride, way deep down inside. You believed all those lies. You don't believe me when I cry. I gave you my love. I gave you my heart. I loved you right from the start. Now we drifted apart. Don't you know? Don't you know? Yeah. Don't you know? Don't you know? Come on, girl. Come on, girl. Come on, girl. Come on, girl. I really love you, my darling. Oh, I really love you, my darling. Oh, I really love you.
As Johnny G gets caught here. That tune reminds me of Garnet Mims and the Enchanters for some reason. I don't know. It does. What a cool ballad there by the Knight Brothers, December 1963. Checker Records for that one. The second of 7 for the Knight Brothers. I Really Love You. They have 2 more releases. Came out on the Mercury label after leaving Checker Records. Let's continue here. Let's go to this group from New York City. Started in 1961, recording as the Pageants on the Beacon label. They were a mixed group, males and females, and I think on that record there was a female lead, Barbara Reeves. When I listened to this record quickly, this one that I'm playing, on the RCA label because they had a earlier release than this on Groove Records. I think one side was a male, the other side a female. I thought this was a female group or a female lead, and it was not. When I posted this originally on Facebook, I thought it was Barbara Reeves on lead, but no, it's a male. I think it might be Leroy Bronson who was on lead, possibly. But anyway, this is from June of '65. They're called The Pageants. It's on RCA. It's called I'm a Victim.
She has me coming around and bringing her flowers every day. She's got me dating on a trail, got me so I do anything that she said. Well, she's got a kind of hold on me. I'm a slave, but I'll never be free. Now what can I say? 'Cause I'm a victim of her arms. I'm a victim of magic charm. She's oh so mean. Yes, she makes my poor heart hurt. When the other fellas come around, she snaps her fingers and she makes me love. Well, my friends say I'm just a fool. They let this little girl treat me all so cruel. What can I do? 'Cause I'm a victim of her eyes. I'm a victim who's been hypnotized. She says jump and I jump. Oh, she has a spell on me. She has me at her beck and call. Yeah, she keeps me in misery. I wanna leave this girl. Yes, I wanna go very far away. But there is something about a kiss that makes me love her, makes me stay. Well, I guess I'm just a hopeless case, 'cause I'm in need of an embrace. Oh, what can I say? 'Cause I'm a victim, yes I am. I'm a victim, victim, victim. Yeah! Well, I'm a victim of her eyes. I'm a victim, I've been hypnotized. I'm a victim of her arms. I'm a victim of magic charm. I wanna leave this girl. Yes, I wanna go very far away. But there is something about a kiss that makes me love her, makes me stay. Well, I guess I'm just a hopeless case, 'cause I'm in need of an embrace. Oh, what can I say? 'Cause I'm a victim, yes I am. I'm a victim. Oh, victim, yeah. Victim of her loving arm now. Victim, oh yeah.
Can I get a witness? Victim is a no. They're talking about this song sounding like a Marvin Gaye tune. Yes, it does. But those are The Pageants, June 1965. RCA Records. I'm a Victim is the name of that one. And I tell you, collectors out there, when you're looking through record boxes and you see arranged and conducted by Sammy Lowe on that one, you gotta buy the 45. John G here for a Saturday evening, spinning my 1960s 45s. We do it the last Saturday of every month. And a program note, I will not be here next Saturday. Burton will be doing an extended version of his Hullabadig A Go-Go, so tune in next Saturday from 10 to midnight for a continuation of Burton's Hullabadig A Go-Go. John G going to Newport, Rhode Island with Barbara for some fun and relaxation. That is for sure. John G continuing here with the 1960s. We just heard The Pageant, but let's stay in New York City, this time to the Elf label, a label owned by Buzz Cason and Bobby Russell. And this is a male duo. They're known as Van and Titus. Now, Van is really George Brantley, and Titus is really Bill Brantley. I would guess they were brothers, but I'm not sure. I couldn't verify that. But this is the intended B-side of their first of two on the Elf label. Kind of a cool Jamaican sound here. Let's go to June of 1968 for Van and Titus on Elf with a tune called The Vulture.
Is the kind of guy watching us, girl. And if I have my way, you won't mess up our world. Hey, buffet, go on and find ways. Still wait for my money now. Can't you see I love her? Love her. Just the way it's gonna stay. He's always sitting around whenever he smells trouble. Comes a swooping down when he thinks you might stop her. Just because he know we had a foolish quarrel. He don't know that you and I will patch it up tomorrow. But outside, go on and find ways to wait for my honey now, yeah. Can't you see I love her? Love her. Just the way it's gonna stay, yeah.
Come here, girl. Let me kiss the hurt away.
Yeah.
Your love was too much. So let it fall break.
Go on and find ways.
I wanna tell you one more time, yeah.
Can't you see I love her?
Love her.
Just the way it's gonna stay,
Yeah.
yeah, buffet.
I wanna say one more thing now. Go on and find ways to away from my honey now. No.
Can't you see I love her?
Love her.
Just the way it's gonna stay.
Yes, I live away down in my heart.
Buffet.
Lord.
Go on and find ways.
Leave me.
Yeah. Can't you see I love
June 68 there for Van and Titus. Her Charlene tells me they are brothers. She neglected to put that in her crib notes to Johnny G. But anyway, Van, but that's okay. She gets a pass. She definitely does. Van and Titus there on the Elf record label called The Vulture. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, we got a Brooklyn, New York husband and wife team. They called themselves The Musics, M-U-S-I-C-S. They were Jerry and Myrna Music, and this is a song they wrote. I'm featuring the B-side of the 45, came out on the Columbia record label, and it features Myrna Music on lead. It doesn't sound right, does it? Anyway, sounds like a group, but she's doing lead. This one from May of 1966. They're called The Musics on Columbia. The song is called You Sure Fall Down a Lot.
I saw you at the party, looking snooty and haughty, thinking you were the best that was about. But when the party got swinging and everyone was singing,
That's a husband and wife duet there. They're called The Musics, May 1966 on the Columbia label Myrna Music. She is the lead singer there. You Sure Fall Down a Lot. That's the name of the tune. That's the B-side. Now, Jerry Music, the male, he was also the voice of the cartoon cat Garfield. Unfortunately, he passed away August 4th, 2001 of lung and bone cancer. You just heard them there on the Columbia label. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. I was going through the 45 boxes, as I mentioned, and I saw this title, and it made me think of Lady Linda, currently in our Top Shelf Oldies chat room. And I said, I wonder how this sounds. I think I'm going to have to play this record for Linda. Hopefully she'll be in the chat room on Saturday. And she is. Now, Charlene nor I could find much about this group, but the song was produced by Tony Michaels and Vinnie Gorman. Now, they produced a number of tunes for a group called the Hassles. Well, this one is from January 1969. They are producing a group known as the Jackals. The Jackals. So we have to send this out to lovely Lady Linda, January 69 on Liberty. A song called Linda Come Lately.
Linda, come lately, it's better than came into my life and like a miracle, my whole world seemed to change. It happens once or twice when you love someone else, then somebody takes their place. Linda, come lately. After all of these years, I should have known better. Linda, come lately. Now that I've told someone else I love her forever. Linda, come lately. It's better than ever. Remember how I would try to say hello? You never seemed to care. And now I wonder why, now that I've found someone else, suddenly you're there. Linda, come lately. After all of these years, I should have known better. Linda, come lately. Now that I've told someone else I love her forever. Linda, come lately, come lately. It's better than ever. Is there any way to be sure of myself, to know who I love more? My dreams come true today, but I'm no better off than I was the day before. Linda, come lately. After all of these years, I should have known better. Linda, come lately. Now that I've told someone else I love her forever. Linda, come lately, come lately. It's better than ever.
Yes, Linda, and it's all because you arrived 10 minutes late. That was the most appropriate tune I can play for you. The Jackals there, January 1969. On the Liberty record banner there, Linda Come Lately. We send that out to Lady Linda, currently in the Top Shelf Oldies chat room. Let's continue here. And on the, wasn't the last 60s show, it was actually a couple shows ago, if not longer. I featured this band from the Bronx, New York. They were known as the Day Trippers. I played the B-side of their 45 on the original label, American Music Makers, a song called You Cheated. But let's give a spin to the intended A-side. It was their lone release, which was eventually picked up a few months later by the Karate label, but this is on the original label, AAM, American Music Makers. They're called the Day Trippers from February 66. The song is That's Part of the Game.
You say you're in love, but that's because of the moon up above. But if you think about it now, you'll find she doesn't fit somehow, and that's part of the game. And so you tell her we're through. Now she's sad and blue, not knowing what to do. Of course, she sits at home and waits for my call. It doesn't bother me at all, but that's part of the game. Now everybody says you run back to her. She thinks she's my only girl, but you'd be lying if you say you don't miss her. Well, come to think of it, I'm kind of lonely now. And so, just try it once more. One more time. But now you know for sure she's becoming a bore. Definitely. This girl of mine's becoming a pain. This going steady, man, it's for the insane. But that's part of the game. And that's part of, boys, that's part of the game. Alright, now one more time. And that's part of the game.
February 1966 release there for the Day Trippers. Day Trippers featured it on the original label AAM. That's American Music Makers. And their tune called That's Part of the Game. Yes, it is. We play the game every day. I know I play the game at work. It's been successful so far. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Let's continue. Here's a record produced by Chips Moman, and this time for an artist born in Hugo, Oklahoma, but he was raised in Rosenberg, Texas. He formed a band called the Triumphs in the late 1950s, but it wasn't until he signed with Florence Greenberg's Scepter label that he found national success. Had 18 releases on the Scepter label. Here is his 13th, written by Mark James and Johnny Christopher. This one made it only up to number 97 on the Billboard Hot 100. We go back to June of '69 for Mr. B.J. Thomas on Scepter, and his tune called Pass the Apple Eve.
Your lips are begging for more, girl, and it's tearing me all up inside. Because I like what you're doing, and it's something I've never tried.
That's Mr. B.J. Thomas there from June 69 on the Scepter banner there. Past the Apple Eve. This is like amazing that Charlene has 245s that I played this evening. And sometimes some collectors don't even have any of the record. I'm not going to say any, but you know, on my 50s show, I play a lot of rarities, but and I know a lot of the records, I don't really play hits. I played B-sides of hits. But Charlene is from the Texas, state of Texas. These two artists I played tonight, she did have their 45s, and that is great. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. We are almost in Vinyl Treasure overtime, so let's continue here for this next group. They are from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. They had 2 releases on the Columbia label. Here is their first, written by the group's guitarist. His name is Johnny Whitker, and also the bass player. He also co-wrote it with him, Joe Sobotka. Now, this record is another tune produced by Charlie Calello. It features John Townsend on lead. We go to August of 1966 for the Rubber Band on Columbia, and their tune called Let Love Come Between Us. They're called the Rubber Band, August 66. On the Columbia record banner, it's called Let Love Come Between Us. That is the original version of the tune now. James and Bobby Purify also recorded it a year later, in 1967, and on the Bell label. Now, the lead singer, John Townsend, he would go on to join Sanford, the Sanford Townsend Band. And in 1977, I had a hit called The Smoke from a Distant Fire, a 45 that I did buy when it came out back in 1977. And for you collectors out there, this is a cool Columbia 45 because it's on hard vinyl. It's not that crappy styrene. It's a nice hard vinyl press. So you collectors should be able to get that one. At least the copies that I have seen have been on hard vinyl. Johnny G here. We are in Vinyl Treasure overtime, so play a few 45s. Up next, a singer that hails from Bakersville, California. His name is Augie Marino. He began recording back in 1965 with a 45 on the Moat label, which was then picked up by Tally Records, or might have been vice versa. Then starting in 67, he recorded 3 on the Manmore label, and here is his second from September 1967. Let's give a spin to Augie Marino on Manmore and his tune called She's Got the Magic.
Baby's got the magic in her eyes, got the magic, got me hypnotized. She's got the magic, I can't resist, and that's why I live for her kiss. She's got the magic in her arms, she's got the magic with all her charms. She's got the magic all the time, and that's why I'm so glad she's mine. Her kind of kisses set my lips on fire. To make love to her's my one desire. No other girl in this world will do. Her kind of loving's too good to be true. It's too good to be true. In her lips, like something out of storybook. She's got the magic touch, and that's why I love her so much. She's got the magic touch, and that's why I love her so
His name is Augie Marino, M-O-R-E-N-O. That one there, September 1967. His second release on the Manmore, M-A-N-M-O-R, the Manmore label, She's Got the Magic is the name of the tune. Now, his first release on Manmore is a song called Party People, a pretty good cover of a song written by Joe South. He wrote the song. Actually, he recorded it as the Chips on the Tally label in '64. But that's a cool tune by Augie Marino. John G here doing Vinyl Treasure overtime. And on the last 60s edition, I played a 45 by Jimmy Randolph. Came out on the Felsted label back in 1964. It was a cover of the tune Caravan of Lonely Men. So let's flip that 45 over before I file it back down in the No Humidity basement. It's the second of 2 on Felsted for Jimmy Randolph. We go back to November of '64. Jimmy Randolph on Felsted and a tune called Miracle After Midnight.
The seed is planted and the flower grows. Everyone wonders how, but nobody knows. A miracle after miracle see. We should thank our lucky stars that it's meant to be. A miracle after miracle, a miracle after miracle, I sent from heaven above, together with the miracle of our love. Pretty miracle of our love. Mighty, mighty, mighty miracle of our love.
Well, I messed up that title there. I called it Miracle After Midnight, which it is after midnight. It's Miracle After Miracle. That is the real title. November 1964, that's a B-side for Jimmy Randolph on the Felsted record label. Let's go for a few more sides here. And up next is the younger sister of Larry Henley. You know Larry Henley was a lead singer for the New Beats, had some cool releases on the Hickory record label. He also was able to get his younger sister to sign with his label, and she would have 3 releases for the Hickory label, and here is her first. Now, her real name is Barbara Henley, but she did not want to record under that name. She did not want to have the name association with her brother, so she used an alias. She called herself Barbara Mills, and this one charted regionally. This was number 11 on WLAN out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, July 1965 for Barbara Mills on the Hickory label. The song is called Queen of Fools. That's Barbara Mills, Larry Henley's younger sister. She has. I wonder if they had a voice contest, if they both would have the high voice. Maybe he's a little higher than her. I don't know. July 1965. Queen of Fools is the name of that one, the first of 3 on the Hickory record banner. John G here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. And here is another female singer from Los Angeles, California. Her real name is Charlotte Ann Matheny. I think that's how you pronounce it. First recorded as Charlotte O'Hara on the Ava label in 1963, then on Phil Spector's Phil Dan label in 65 as Bonnie and the Treasures, and here she is just as Bonnie, with a song co-written by Gary Zeekley, who was also writing for her when she had releases on the Ava record label. Let's go back to May of 66 for Bonnie on the Warner Brothers record label, and her tune called Close Your Eyes.
Just give it a try now.
as Danny says, very Spectre-ish. We definitely can say that. But her name is Bonnie, Bonnie Matheny, M-A-T-H-E-N-Y, but she just goes by the name of Bonnie. It's from May of '66 on the Warner Brothers label. Close Your Eyes is the name of the tune. Of course, she recorded on the Phil Dan label, Bonnie and the Treasures. Unfortunately, she passed away in 1976 from breast cancer. Unfortunate, but that's a great tune there. They like that one there in the Top Shelf Oldies chat. Let's continue here. Let's stay with another girl group. Let's go back to the Tolly label, as this time a girl group from Payson, Utah. They were known as Deborah, Patsy, Melody, and Peggy Klinger, better known as the Klinger Sisters. And here is the first of three they recorded on the Tolly label from August of '64. The Klinger Sisters, with this long title. If you want to write it down, the title is Shoop Shoop Dee Doop Rama Llama Ding Dong, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Tell me that you want me back in your arms. Well, baby, I'm telling you, if you really want me and all of my charms, there's one thing you have to do. Whisper softly in my ear all the things I like to hear, like sha-da-da-da, shoot, shoot, dee-doo, ra-dee-dum. And you mean it when you say, yeah, yeah, yeah. Baby, I'll come running back in your arms to stay. Now I know that you think it's funny when I say don't call me honey, like all the other boys do. But I would rather hear a word the kind no other girl has heard coming from you. You tell me that you want to kiss me again. Well, baby, I'm telling you, if you wanna kiss me like you did then, there's one thing you gotta do. Whisper softly in my ear all the things I like to hear, like sha-da-da-da, shoop, shoop, dee-doo, ra-ra-ding-dong. And you mean it when you say, yeah, yeah, yeah. Baby, I'll come running back in your arms to stay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sha-da-da-da, shoop, shoop, dee-doo, ra-ra-ding-dong, shoop, shoop, dee-doo.
I wonder if Sirius XM would play that one on their Beatles station. Probably can get away with it for sure, but those are the Klinger Sisters. August 1964 on the Tolly label. Featured a few 45s tonight on Tolly Records. The first of three called Shoop Shoop De Doop Rama Llama Ding Dong, yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, they had other releases on labels like Joe B and Columbia and Forward and MGM, the Klinger Sisters. Let's continue here with a few more. Now, after Buddy Holly died in that awful plane crash, along with Richie Valens and the Big Bopper, his band, the Crickets, continued to record. And when the group signed with Liberty Records, Jerry Allison, the original member of the group of the Crickets, offered Jerry Naylor to become the lead singer for the group, and they recorded 11 on the Liberty label. Now, this is the B-side to their seventh, written by Jerry Allison and Buzz Case, and this one from January 1964. These are the Crickets on Liberty, again, Liberty Records, and their tune called You Can't Be In Between.
Make up your mind what you mean. If you don't, I'm gonna cause a scene. You love me or you don't, you will or you won't. I don't have to tell you what I mean. Baby, don't you know, oh, 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 you can't be in between. Do you want me to stay? I gotta have your answer right away. I can't waste my time, I'm blind, no you really might. You might change horses in the middle of the street. Baby, don't you know, oh, 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 you can't be in between. You can't be in between. might come a day when you'll change horses in the middle of the street. Baby, don't you know, oh, 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 you can't be in between. Can't be in between. Baby, don't you know, oh, 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 you can't be in between. Can't be in between.
January 1964 release there for the Crickets. The Crickets on the Liberty record label, You Can't Be In Between. That is the name of the tune now. There was another lead singer that recorded with the Crickets, that being Sonny Curtis. Sonny Curtis, did I say that? Yes, we did. We mentioned that in the chat room. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. We're going to go for a few more 45s here. Now, we just heard the Crickets, and another artist on Liberty that sang with the Crickets, actually they put out an album, was Bobby V. And between 1959 and 1970, Bobby released 42 singles on the Liberty record label. Now, here is his 25th release. It was written by Paul Lecca and Erwin Schuster, produced by Dave Pell, and arranged by Jack Nietzsche. This one bubbled under at number 124, but was a big number, or wasn't big, but it was a hit, number 36 on WDGY in the Minnesota St. Paul area. We go to August of 65 for the late Bobby V. Bobby V on Liberty with a song called Run Like the Devil.
I won't hold you down if you wanna go. Though I love you so, I just want you to know. If you're not happy anymore, and it's his arms you're longing for, him. Oh, run like the devil, you miss him. I'll run my baby before he gets away from you. I might cry, baby, when you go away, but I won't beg just to make you stay. If you're not happy anymore, and he's got what you're looking for, I'll run like the devil and catch him. Oh, run like the devil, you'll miss him. Run, my baby, before he gets away from you. But if you find what you did was wrong, and you know, yes you know, just where you belong, if you want me back like before, and promise not to hurt me no more,
That's the late Bobby V there, August 1965. Run Like the Devil is the name of the tune. It's on the Liberty record label. His 25th of 42 singles. And again, we lost Bobby V November 24th, 2016. Complications from Alzheimer's. He was 73 years old. Two more 45s to go after this one here, as I posted this one up on my Facebook wall. This group from Hartford, Connecticut, they have this lone release on the Robin label. This one charted number 75 on WDRC in Hartford, Connecticut. Let's go to April of 66 for the Young Alley Cats. The Young Alley Cats on Robin and their tune called Since She's Been Gone.
Since she's been gone, I don't want nobody no more. Since she's been gone, I walk right out that door. I've been blue. Apologize to her since she's been gone. This love we is something in the past, and now I know it really wouldn't last. I've been blue. Apologize to her since she's been gone. Best thing in this world is free.
They're out of Hartford, Connecticut. They're called the Young Alley Cats. Young Alley Cats, they're April 1966 on the Robin label, Since She's Been Gone. I know Dave the Rave's going to be looking for that 45. Two more 45s to go before we sign off here on the 60s edition of the Vinyl Treasure Show. This group is they formed in San Francisco, California, began recording back in 1965, originally as the Navarros with a release on the Corby. I think then it came out on the GMP Crescendo label. Then they changed their name to the Neighborhood Children. They had two releases on the Acta label. This is their second. We go back to March of 1968. The Neighborhood Children on Acta. This is the A-side, the plug side, a song called Please Leave Me Alone.
She's always trying to bring me down. Since I broke her heart, she's trying to get her feet back on the ground. Please, please leave me alone. Please, please leave me alone. Please leave me alone. Every time she sees me, she always looks the other way. Pretending not to see me, pretending not to hear me say, leave me alone. She's telling all the fellas that she used to leave me around. She's got them all believing that I was just a funny clown.
to see me, pretending not to hear me say, leave me alone. She's telling all the fellas that she used to lead me around. She's got them all believing I was just a funny clown. Please, please leave me alone. Please, please leave me alone. Please leave me alone. Please leave me alone. Please leave me alone.
March 1968 there for the Neighborhood Children. It's the second of two on the ACTA label, ACTA. Please Leave Me Alone. That is the name of the tune there. Now, with their first release, their name, the Neighborhood Children, is spelled as you would see it, Neighborhood Children. But on this release, for some reason, they omitted a vowel and replaced it with an apostrophe, like after the B in neighborhood, there's an apostrophe, the neighborhood, and then children, they took out the E-N. After R, they just put an apostrophe. I don't know why they did that, but they did. Anyway, well, that's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show. I want to thank you for joining Johnny G, listening to Original Vinyl 45s out of my collection. You want to get in touch with Johnny G, send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. Been recording this on the Ustream broadcaster. We'll get this one up on my YouTube site. You can also go to my website, vinyltreasures.net. There are a lot of shows there for, I think, the last 3 years, 2.5 to 3 years there. You can stream or download the shows there. And that's going to do it. And a program note that I will not be here next Saturday, as Burton will be filling in with his extended edition of the Hullabadigga Go-Go Show. So I will be in Newport, Rhode Island with Barbara. I'll be back in 2 weeks for the 50s and early 60s edition. Hope you dug this cool 60s edition. I enjoy playing the 60s stuff because it's new to me, basically. I know a lot about the 50s and early 60s, but the stuff that Dave the Rave plays, I mean, I have a lot of it, but I'm not as familiar with it. But I have lots and lots of those records, and I hope you dig on those cool tunes, and I hopefully didn't charge you too much money, Jeff. That is for sure. But our closer tonight, as we go back to New York City, it's on Jack Taylor's Rojack label. For this singer, he had 3 releases on the Rojack label, and he goes by the name of Wesley Page and the Master 3, and this is his second on Rojack. It's from March of '67. By Wesley Page and the Master 3 on Rojack. It's called I've Got to Find Out for Myself. And that is definitely going to be the case when I head over to Newport, Rhode Island. That's where I'll be going. So anyway, tune in tomorrow evening for Dave the Rave and his Relics and Rarities. Begins at 9, from 9 to midnight right here on Top Shelf Oldies, and all the cool shows that are here on Top Shelf beginning at 8 o'clock. We got some very cool DJs, very eclectic tastes that they play, but we have very smart listeners here on Top Shelf Oldies. I would put our listenership to any on the net, as they are very educated and know some good tunes. And I'm glad I can bring my collection to you every Saturday from 10 to midnight right here on Top Shelf Oldies. Thank you, Charlene, for all your help on these shows. Very important, and I really appreciate all that you do to help me. And that's going to do it, folks. Want everybody to have a safe and happy week, and I'll see you here in 2 weeks for the Vinyl Treasure Show for 1950s and early 60s sides out of my collection. Just want to say, everybody, so long.
They say you got something that will make a hound dog tongue. Pretty baby.
something that